Alright guys, so today on Lake Wisconsin Outdoors, I'm going to be going over how I fish a Senko and the two different ways that I fish Senkos. So the first way we're going to get into right away, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Wacky Rig. This is a Biospawn Exo Stick. It's a great bait. It has a lot of shimmy on the fall. Stick in the way I have it rigged. First off, I have this on a, I believe this is a 2-aught like Wacky Rig or drop shot hook. I got it in one of my mystery tackle boxes. So there's that, and then this on the bottom, if you guys can see that little weight right there, that is a Wacky Worm weight. So what this allows it to do is it's adding a 16th ounce tungsten weight, so it's adding it to help it sink faster, which I like a little bit of faster sink, and you get a little, like to fish a little faster with the Wacky Worm. And I have that on 12-pound fluoro to 10-pound braid. This is my walleye rod, bass rod, whatever you want to call it. 6.6 medium light Legend Tournament. Great rod for wacky rigging. And I have that on with a Shimano Stratic 3000 size reel. I really didn't think I would like this reel too much, more from the handle perspective, but I really actually like the handle, and it's a really nice combo. And I just really like this one for wacky rigging. And a couple other things that you can do with this is, we've already gone over the weight, but you could take something like these little spinners. You guys can see that little screw-in weight, so I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. You go ahead and you put the weight, screw that into the worm like so. So there, now when this is falling, it's got a little spinner on it to give it a little flash and maybe a little bit of thump that something the fish probably aren't used to seeing. And especially on pressured lakes, that's a very big key to do, is make your bait stand out different. And that's why I think the faster sink with the weight helps too, because it's something the fish are probably used to seeing a wacky worm fall nice and slow, versus where if it's falling quick, they kind of have to make a decision of whether I want to eat it or not. So that's how I do the Wacky Rig, and that's my Wacky Rig setup. And then this has, hands down, it helped me out tremendously in my sectional bass fishing tournament, and even in my personal fishing the past few weeks here. I've really this is probably turning into my favorite technique, and it's a weightless Texas rigged Senko. Probably calm down there. So, excuse me. What this one is if you guys saw my last video, this is a straight King Ocho in a June bug color. I mean, it just flat out catches fish. There's nothing else really to say about it other than the fact that it works. And I'll show you the hook that I have it on. This is my my secret Cinco hook. It's actually pretty deadly. I was kind of skeptical about this hook when I first started using it, but you know what? It works awesome. I've caught a ton of fish on it, and I don't have a problem with missing fish because of the fact that it's not like an EWG where you have the little, the little bendy thing on there in the EWG. But so yeah, I like these, but I also have a bunch of these. These are just regular EWG hooks. These work fine also, but those other hooks are absolutely deadly, and I prefer those over EWG. But you can, don't get me wrong, you can still catch a ton of fish on EWGs. I prefer 4-aught in both of those sizes. Some people say 3, I prefer 4. Just gets the bait a little bit farther back, which if you have some short biting fish, you can get a few extra fish with that. So that's that. I'm gonna show you guys how to rig one here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take mine off right now, what I currently have on. So, standard stick bait. I got my hook. I'm gonna go ahead and you're gonna want to put the hook, probably about a 1/4 inch through, and then you're gonna want to go ahead and pop that out and flip it over, and then push it up past. There's this little keeper. I don't know if it's actually weighted or not, but you push it past the little keeper, and then you gently push it back down onto that. And then in order to rig this, if you guys can see, hold on, I gotta clear my throat. I don't know what's going on. So if you lay the hook down like that, that's where it'll be. I like to pull it that way. The bait's gonna stay in place. So you go ahead, put it in right there, pop it out on the other side, like that, and then go ahead and put it into the back end of the bait and finish your putting it in. And that is completely weedless, and this will, I haven't had a problem with missing fish, because the fish comes, bites down. If they're holding it like this and you rip it, that hook point's gonna become exposed and you're gonna hook that fish. So that's how I rig that. And what I've been throwing this on is I have it's a 7-foot medium heavy St. Croix Premier 721 Canon, Shimano Canon, and then I'm running 16-pound Sunline Sniper on here. And I can't say, I don't think I have anything negative to say about this Sunline. I put some line conditioner on it. That definitely helps. I don't know if it helps the performance of it at all, but I think the conditioner could help. But you know, this is an insanely sensitive combo with the way that I have everything all rigged up on here. Oh yeah, the other thing that you can do with these Senkos is you can add, this right here, this is an 1/8 ounce tungsten weight. You can add that on there if you're fishing, you know, a little deeper, or the fish are real tight to bottom. You can put the little weight on to keep that bait in the strike zone a little longer. So that's another thing that you can do there that I forgot to mention earlier. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I'm gonna go ahead and explain how I work the bait, and yeah, let's get into that footage right here. There we go. It's not a bad one. First fish of the morning, and I've been here maybe like 5 minutes. I first thought that this fish here was hung up in this lily pads. I'll get him lipped. Holy cow! Here, there we go. There he is. It's probably about 14-15 inches. Definitely not a bad fish. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss him back. But that fish was over there in those weeds. It's over there, and I thought he was just hung up in the weeds. And then I saw my line started to come out, so I set the hook on the old fish there, and got my first Cinco fish of the day. Which, if you guys hadn't already realized, is the topic of today's video, is how to fish a Cinco. Holy cow. Hooked that fish perfectly there. There we go. There's a nice little bass there. That is now my second fish today that I've gotten. Both of them have been on Senkos. I'm trying to, you know, show you guys that the Senkos work, and you know, I went over the tactics, you know, earlier. But you know, I'm gonna tell you guys here in a little bit how to actually work the Cinco. And there he goes. I'll tell you guys how to work it Texas rigged, or not so much Texas rigged, but just like a weightless rig, like what I've got here. Because this is as you guys have seen, this is a deadly method. And I don't know why, but for some odd reason they really like this June bug color. I can't explain why they do, but they do. So hopefully I can catch a few more fish, and I'm going to show you guys right here how to go ahead and throw the Cinco. Guys, so what I'm going to show you is how to work a weightless Texas rig Cinco, like the one that I have here. You know, you can do this with any stick bait. You know, just try to keep it. I just try to keep it, my presentation, nice and simple. Same with my technique. It's very, I don't know if boring is the right word, but it seems pretty boring. So, you know, you're going to go ahead and we're going to cast it out. You know, you're going to wait a few seconds. And then the one thing that was taught to me is that you want to keep a bow in your line that way. So I'm going to go ahead and make my first move here. And that's going to reel down a little bit, and then you're just going to pull. Not do anything special, and then you're going to see how there's this bow in my line. There's a bow right there. What that does is it creates a, you're sort of tight lining that Senko. And when you're tight lining that Senko, if you get a fish to come up and pick it, you'll see your line go and jump, and you'll feel the bite up the rod. And here, I'm going to demonstrate that again. I'm going to go ahead, cast it out, let it hit the water. Let it sink a few seconds while still trying to keep a bow in your line, but you're not going to get it perfect, but that's all right. So then you just reel down to the bait, and you pull it. And you just watch your line. And I also am keeping my finger on my line right here, because if the bite gets transmitted through the line, you know, I am using fluorocarbon, and fluorocarbon is very sensitive, and a St. Croix, so I'm, you know, if I feel the tiniest little tap, I'm going to feel it. And this is a pretty, you know, simple yet effective way to, you know, catch bass on Senkos. I think it's very interesting, because what I always do is I would like twitch it. And when you're twitching it like that and you get a fish, you can pull the bait right out of the fish's mouth, and it then loses the effectiveness of using the Senko. But with this method, when you're just pulling it, you know, you feel a lot more bites, and it's a very good way to fish. And the other thing that I will do is while I'm pulling it, I'll do a few little flicks. That's fine, but you just got to remember that you got to check your initial, on your initial first, like, let's just say your first foot of your pull, it's more of a, I'm checking for bites. And then once you get towards the top half of your pull, then you can go ahead and, you know, give it a little flick if you wanted to get that Senko to, you know, dart or something like that. Oh man, that's a good one. Huh. Oh, that's a zombie bass. It's the one eye's missing. Was not expecting that at all. There we go, guys. There's a flipping fish. Was not expecting that at all. Just kind of felt a tick, and he was on there. I caught that fish straight up flipping, though. That's sweet.